Sometimes it's hard not to notice that when it comes to storytelling, there are only so many ideas to go around, and that becomes even more obvious in something like Doctor Who, a show that's been running on and off for decades. You start to see the patterns. Base under siege, historical with a twist, mad scientist, evil corporation, time paradox. It's not that these are bad ideas, they're foundational, but the longer the show goes on, the more it starts to circle its own history. And that's where things get tricky, because there's a difference between revisiting a concept and outright retreading something so specific it feels lifted. What makes it worse is when that borrowed idea comes from expanded media like Big Finish productions, because let's be honest, fewer people have listened to the audios compared to those watching the TV series, which creates this unspoken loophole where ideas can be reused with minimal backlash. But when the similarities become that precise, it stops feeling like coincidence and starts feeling like creative recycling, dressed up as originality. Welcome to the Snake Pit, where we're full of bile and venom. I'm your host, Snake Damon, and today we're digging into one of those cases where inspiration starts looking a lot like duplication. Let's talk about The Game, the 66th entry in Big Finish's monthly range, written by Darren Henry and starring Peter Davison as the Fifth Doctor, alongside Sarah Sutton as Nisa. On the surface, it sounds almost playful. A planet where two opposing sides, the Gora and the Linean, settle their conflict through a sport called Naxi, big match, big stakes. Commentators hyping it up like it's the final of a galactic cup. But scratch beneath that surface and what you've actually got is something far darker. Because this isn't just a game, it's war, sanitized. The entire civilization of Cray has reduced conflict to spectacle. Strategy becomes coaching, soldiers become players, casualties become results. It's a society that's convinced itself it's evolved beyond violence, when in reality it's just rebranded it. And the real horror is that participation isn't optional. People are drafted into this system whether they want to be or not. The illusion of choice is just that, an illusion. It's control dressed up as entertainment. And that's where the Fifth Doctor really shines in this story. Davison's Doctor has always leaned more towards empathy than authority, and here you see that moral frustration come through. He doesn't just oppose what's happening, he's disturbed by how normalized it's become. This isn't a villain with a master plan. This is a system that's convinced everyone it's the right way to live, and dismantling that's a far more complicated challenge than just stopping a bad guy. It's a genuinely clever concept. War reduced to a game isn't even that far-fetched. You can see the parallels. Generals become managers. Tactics become plays. Victory and defeat are still there, just repackaged into something easier to digest. It's one of those ideas that makes you stop and think, and honestly, it gave me a greater appreciation for the Fifth Doctor than I had before. So with all that said, why is it a problem? 2 words, Darzil Carlisle. This is where things go from clever to, well, very familiar. Darzil is introduced as this legendary figure, a negotiator, a man the Doctor admires, someone he's always wanted to meet. From the Doctor's perspective, this is a first encounter, but from Darzil's perspective, it's not. He already knows the Doctor. He treats him like an old friend. There's history there, just not from the Doctor's point of view. And here's the kicker. This story ends with Darzil dying. So you've got a character who has a deep, established relationship with the Doctor, who meets him for the first time from the Doctor's perspective, and whose timeline is moving in the opposite direction, culminating in a final encounter for them, but an introduction for him. When we talk about River Song, we're talking about one of Doctor Who's most ambitious narrative experiments, an entire relationship told in reverse, where the Doctor and River meet out of order, their memories never quite lining up. River's introduction in Silence in the Library was a revelation. Here was a character who knew the Doctor intimately, but for him, she was a stranger. Their timelines moved in opposite directions. Her firsts were his lasts, and vice versa. It was a bold, emotional twist that instantly set River apart from every other companion. But as the seasons went on, something changed. What began as a sharp, tragic concept, two people forever out of sync, started to feel less like inspiration and more like repetition. The emotional punch of their mismatched timelines was stretched across multiple seasons, turning what was once a fresh idea into a recurring motif. This is where the line between inspiration and duplication blurs. River Song's story was groundbreaking at first, but as it was revisited again and again, the impact dulled. The audience, once captivated by the mystery, began to anticipate the beats. The innovation became a formula. The significance of River Song lies in how her story challenged the Doctor and us to rethink time, memory, and love. But it also serves as a cautionary tale. Even the most original ideas can lose their edge if repeated without evolution. River's arc is a testament to the power of inspiration, but also a reminder of the risks of duplication. When a narrative device is used too often, it stops surprising us and starts feeling like a loop. In the end, River Song remains one of Doctor Who's most memorable characters. Her story, both a triumph of creative storytelling and a lesson in knowing when to let an idea rest. That's the legacy of River Song, a brilliant spark of inspiration and a warning about the fine line between homage and overuse. Now, to be fair, timey-wimey relationships aren't unique. Non-linear storytelling is part of Doctor Who's DNA, but this is specific. The emotional hook, the structure, the reveal, it's all there in the game first, and because it's an audio, because it's Big Finish, because it's something a smaller portion of the audience experienced, it's easy for that idea to be repurposed without most people even noticing. That's the issue. It's not that stories shouldn't echo each other. It's that when something this precise gets repeated, it raises questions. Not necessarily of intent, but of awareness. Because either it's a coincidence so specific it borders on unlikely, or it's an idea that was quietly lifted and reworked for a wider audience. And that's where expanded media always gets the short end of the stick. Because it's canon until it isn't. It's valid until something more visible overrides it. And when ideas from it start showing up elsewhere without acknowledgement, it creates this weird situation where the original feels sidelined in favor of the more popular version. And that really sums up the problem. Doctor Who has always thrived on reusing and reinventing ideas, but there's a line between inspiration and repetition. Cross that line, and instead of building on the past, you start erasing it. Thanks for dropping by the Snake Pit, where we thrive on untapped potential and lost opportunities. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell, like the video, and leave your opinions in the comments, where naturally I won't read them. Until next time, stay venomous.